So open the shop and let's see if it works. So let's buy 100 points. Let's see if it works. Oh, we got 100 points. Wow, boom, it worked like that. Yeah, that's back guys, another tutorial on reactive metal. Today we're going to be doing a dev product tutorial. Now, dev product is basically similar to a game pass, so it's going to be a bit similar to my game pass tutorial, except if you don't know what the difference between dev products and game passes. Dev products you can actually buy more than once, meanwhile game pass you can only own once, and it's basically a pass, right? So that's, to put it simply, what dev products are. You probably know like examples of them. So for example, if you want to buy like number of cash or points, and you can buy them as much times as you want, and it gives you cash. So this is all we're going to be doing today. So for right now, actually, I have some GUI that were from my previous tutorial. So like this one right here. So this is a shop UI that I made before in my previous tutorial. I'm gonna be using it in this tutorial just because it's more faster. I don't want to spend so much time on making GUIs and all that. But I will be providing them either with the script or without the script. I'm gonna kind of decide whether or not I'm gonna add the script with that, or you can just really script while you're watching the video. That's probably what you're gonna do. But if you're like completely don't know how to script, and I'll probably just provide them in the description with the model. So I'm just gonna provide these two and the item template. This is the item. So this is a shop, okay, and this is the button, the shop frame, and the item template. This is the template that we're using for every single point frame thingy majingy. So for example, if you want to sell one product, this is going to be 100 points. You can buy this for however much Robux, right? And this is going to be for each product, right? So you're going to duplicate each of these for each product. Okay, so let's put this in replicate storage, screen GUI, and starter GUI, right? Okay, so now let's actually start on a local script for now. Or actually no, before anything, we need to actually make the dev product. Now, usually what you can do is go on game settings and then go on monetization, right? And then you can do developer products and then create. All right, so product ID. So we want to edit this and then you can change it to whatever you want. So let's call this 100 points. We'll be adding about 3 products, so like 100 points. All right, and let's do on a 10. Let's go back and then make more. Then we can save it after. So, oops, not edit. Let's create another one. This is gonna be like, 500. So 500 points. And then let's make one more just because it's just so we can get over with it. But you can make as much as you want, obviously. It's gonna be like 1,000 points. Then 100. If you want, you can make one more, but it's whatever. So now we want to click save. Now, before anything, we do need the ID. So of course, just like game pass, they have IDs. So you want to actually no, I have to save them first. I have to save it, then go back to monetization, and then you can copy the ID. So copy ID to clipboard, copy ID to clipboard, copy ID to clipboard. So 10, 50, 100. All right. So now you get the ID. We have the ID. Now we can make the script. Now to make this script, what you want to do is actually, let's look at a local script. And then what you want to do is make a dictionary. And kind of, yeah, a dictionary basically. So what we're going to do, just so it's simpler, we can have as much dev products as you want, right? And we want to make a dictionary so we can actually add all the information for each product. So for example, let's see. Okay, so let's make a table first. So local dev products. Okay, and it equals table. Let's press enter so we can have space. So for each table, I don't think we need to make, we don't need to make variables, but what we can do is do square brackets, and then we can write the name of it. Or you can actually, what you can do is write the name of it. So 100 points, or actually no, points 100, because you can't start with a number for a variable. And then we equal this to another table. So basically make a dictionary, and then we add all the information that we have. So for example, let's call it, so let's have a name for it. So name equals 100 points. So this is what we want to buy. This is the name of the dev product. I don't know how to actually, we'll call it, like, we have a name for it, right? Then we have the dev product ID that we copied. So ID equals, and then whatever ID. So it should be this one right here. Right, so copy and paste this. What else do we need? And then the price. So what's the price of it? Price equals 10 Robux. I think so. That was right. Okay. All right, and that's pretty much it. We're done. So now you just copy and paste this for every other product. So instead of points 100, it's gonna be points 500, right? And for it's gonna be named 500 points. Actually, we don't need a space here, so let's remove that. Copy and paste the ID for the 500 one. Should be this one, and this should be 50 Robux. Okay, and then it's gonna be 1,000 points. I'm gonna call it 1,000. Copy and paste the ID for the 1,000 points dev product, and then make this 100. And we're done. Okay, so now we made a table for all of our dev products. Now the reason we can do this is because it's more efficient. So we can loop through all of these, right? We can loop through this table, and then we can clone for each one. We can duplicate this item template and we put it in the shop. That's why we want to make a table, so it's easier instead of doing it manually. That's really all we're doing. You can do it manually, of course, but it's obviously not the best way to do it. Not the best way to do it. Okay, so let's make some variables. So local main, we'll script the parent. We don't really need that. Okay, and local shop holder. So this is gonna hold all of our items, our item templates, equals main.shop if I'm right. So shop, and then holds all of our stuff, so it has a UI grid layout. All right, let's see. All right, now let's loop through all these items. So for I product in pairs, are we gonna do I pairs? I'm not sure. I think I pairs it's better if you want to use, if you're using it in a dictionary. I'm not sure, but I think that's a okay, whatever. Oh, and by the way, I would be, index would be this right here. So product would be this table right here, and I would be this. And for each one, okay, so I, then these are the products which are the table. So what you can do instead of writing name, honestly, I don't know. At this point, it doesn't really matter. It works both ways. It's good. It's good either way. I don't really care. Okay, so do for product in I pairs, their products do. Oh, did I? Transiting. Do. Okay. I was wondering. That was confusing. Okay. And you can. No, it's whatever. It's whatever. But you can. I'm just saying you can. I don't know if you're experienced with scripting at least. You can do. Oops, not like that. Square brackets instead of like just writing the name. You can do square brackets and then quotes, and then you can actually get the name of it. Right. So you can call this like 100 points. You can actually get the name instead of writing the name here. You can get the name from here, and you can use that by getting I. Other than that, it's not really necessary. It's whatever, But whatever. Let's continue. So, local item template, because we want to duplicate it. Give that replicate to storage. Item template and clone. I want to clone this. Item template. Now there's some stuff here. So there is the buy button. Now what we can do is actually instead of just making the text of the buy button just buy, you can just put it as the price in Robux. It looks more cleaner instead of having like a separate text label for it. It's whatever. So buy item template. By the way, this was from our shop tutorial, but I did remove some stuff, so it's not the exact same as in our shop tutorial. That text equals product dot price, because we're using this property. We also need a name, so item dot item name dot text equals product dot name. What else do we need? And lastly, yeah, you can change it up a bit though. And then ID. Okay, so ID, we will be using it by we'll make a function for each item template. Or actually, let's put the item template dot parent equals shop holder. Okay, so we parent it to a shop holder, so it's gonna look like this. We're gonna parent it like here, and then it's gonna show like this is the item name, right? Or not? Oops, this is not the. This is the item name. This is the buy button. It's gonna show. It's actually gonna look like this. So, example, like 10 Robux, right? And actually, instead of doing price, yeah, I can do this. And then we'll do something like concatenate this with a string like this, Robux, and then dot dot price. So it's gonna look like this. So it's gonna look like, instead of like 10 Robux, it's gonna be like 10. So like it's gonna look like this. I don't know. If that looks good, I don't know. Let's actually do like this Robux. So dot dot Robux. So it's gonna look like, it's gonna look more like this. So 10 Robux. It's gonna look like this basically. Okay, so now we make a function for whenever the player buys the product. So item template dot buy dot mouse button one click. And it's weird because it doesn't autocomplete, so that's, it is what it is. Okay, so item template that buy that mouse button one click. I think this is how you spell it. And then we're gonna fire a marketplace function. So we're gonna do, let's first get marketplace. So marketplace go game get service marketplace service. And then we're gonna do marketplace, and then prompt product purchase. Huh. Wait, hold on. Am I? Prompt. Okay, now I'm confused. Oh, it's like, is it? No, sorry. It's colon and then prompt. Yeah, sometimes it's colon is usually for functions. Dot is for events and other stuff and properties. So prompt product purchase. Sorry, it's my bad. It's colon prompt product purchase. Blah blah blah. Okay, so first parameter is the player that you want to fire it to. So I forgot to make also a variable for the local player. So local player go game.players.local player. So this is the player that's buying it, the client. So player, and then product ID is gonna do, we're gonna do what's it called again? Product.id, right? So the ID right here, we're gonna prompt this dev product. And then whether or not the player buys it, we're gonna see, and we're gonna detect that in the server. So for right now, all we did is set it up, right? But we didn't actually make it work. So let's actually, so we're gonna play right now, we can test it, and let's see whether or not it works. I'm not sure if I made it visible. Okay, hold a minute. Okay, there we go. So, sorry, that's my bad. Put this back in replicated storage. Now it should work. Maybe that's a bit slow. I think the shop is a bit slow when it opens, so that's not really good. Let's see if it works. Okay, no. For right now, it doesn't even work at all. That's nice. Item template. Let's do pairs instead, because I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why it's not working. Let's see. So shop. Let's see. Looks like something is not going right. I'm not sure why. Okay. Okay, there you go. Now it's working. Okay. You can rearrange the grid layout. I'm not sure if you can do it right now, but you can rearrange the grid layout if you want to make it look better. But these are all our dev products. So you can make, I don't know, cell padding or something. I think cell padding, or you can do cell size. So you can make it so the x-axis, on the x-axis you can do it like 100. Actually, do these even work? I don't think so. Okay, whatever. So let's actually kind of look at how you want it. So let's say put it here. Then let's duplicate all these. Let's say these are 3 dev products. Let's make it like a bit smaller. So 100, 100, so it's square. Not what I wanted. Let's see. It's good enough, but sometimes UI grid layouts aren't really, they're kind of funky sometimes, you know what I mean? I don't know, this looks good enough. 30. Okay, it's good enough. I mean, it's not exactly symmetrical, but you're gonna get the drift, you know? Okay, okay. Now we're done with this. Oh, did I accidentally delete this? What the hell? I accidentally deleted it. Okay, so yeah, we want to keep that in replicated storage. Okay, now we have it all set up. Now, oh yeah, we didn't test it if we can buy it, so let's press the buy button. And obviously you can customize it however you want. You can make this better. Like, this is very simple design. You should probably make something better than this, to be honest. And yeah, it says, would you like to buy 100 points? But if you buy it, nothing happens, of course. So let's make points, okay? Let's make points for the player. Now, if you made a leader, if you have points in your game already, or yeah, if you already have points in your game, you don't need to do this part. But if you don't, you should probably script this leader stat script. So it's gonna be local. Actually, no, not local. So player added event. So game.players.player added connect function. Again, if you already have points in your game, you don't need to do this part. So player. Okay, you got player. Player is the player that joined. The local leader stats. Let's call it L for short. Instance.new folder. L.name equals leader stats. That has to be spelled like this. Leader stats. L.parent equals player. Alright. Okay. Now let's make a number value, and this is going to be our points. Number. Wait, what am I saying? No, points. Points equals instance dot new number value. Points dot name equals points. Points dot parent equals parent to the leader stats, which is the folder that holds all of our stats. But also, like, you don't have to have stats obviously in your leader stats. Only the ones that you want to show in the game. So you know how in the player list. So for example, this is all the script does. So it shows on the player list. So as you can see, we have points stat in our leader stats, and it shows in the game. All right, so now we can add points. Of course, if you want to save, save points, that's a completely different tutorial. I'll go on my data store. I think I made like, I don't know how many. I made 10 data store tutorials. Maybe not 10, but like a lot. Okay, so this is for our leader stats. So let's keep this separate. And then now let's actually work on our script, which detects whether or not the player has purchased a dev product. Let's go on a random script. Let's go on this one. So let's first, now we can actually, we will be using this a bit, but we're gonna be using it, we're gonna change it up a little bit. You know what I mean? So let's first get marketplace. So look, marketplace will game, get service, marketplace service. Okay. I think that's it, right? Okay, so now let's get the same dictionary made, but we're gonna change it up a bit. I think because, yeah. So we're gonna add functions to it. So instead of this, right, we can probably keep it the same. Let's see. Yeah, we're probably gonna keep it the same. Actually, I think we only need to add a function. So, okay. So function, what is function? So when you add a function, so for example, let's add, so this is close for func, and then equals function. So function, and, oh, did I do it wrong? Function, oh, we have to call it function, so function, add points. Okay, that was really wrong. And comma, just in case. Add points. Hold on a second, no. Okay, there we go. Is that okay? I don't know, because the syntax is a bit weird. Okay, I'm forgetting. So function, there we go, equals function. So function is when a player has bought the dev product and we want something to happen. So for example, if that's something we want to happen is to add points to the player, and this function, all we do is add points to the player. So for example, let's add a parameter here. So let's call this player, and this is the player, right? The product, right? All we have to do is do player leaderstats dot points that value, and then we plus equals 1 or 10 or 100, since that's the amount of points that the player bought. And that's literally all. So we want to check if the player has bought the dev product, and then if they did buy the dev product, we want to fire this function. So this is the function that we want to fire every time a player has bought a certain product. So in this case, if the player has bought 100 points, we add 100 points to the player. That's pretty much simple. That's pretty simple. So honestly, you can do it with anything though. So it's not only with points, you can do it with anything. So if you want to give a player a gear or a tool or something, you can also do this. You can do like parent it. You can parent the gear to the player, right? Or to the player's character or backpack, right? So you can really put anything in this function. You can really make anything, any type of dev product, and you can use this function to do whatever you want when they buy the dev product. Okay, so this is the dictionary, right? So I think we can do, so copy and paste this. Let's change it up. So for this case, it's 1,000 points. In this case, it's 500 points. All right, so now let's actually check if the player has bought their product. So we can do this by marketplace. Actually, we have to make a function. Now this syntax is a bit weird, but just bear with me. So function, and then marketplace. Let's see. Let's put marketplace dot process receipt, and then receipt info or receipt, and then enter, and it appears an end. Okay. All right. So I know this is kind of weird, but basically we make a function, and whenever a receipt is processed, meaning whenever someone has bought a dev product, right, and there's a receipt. Basically, when you buy something, you get a receipt, right? So basically, a receipt is processed whenever you buy a dev product, and then whenever a receipt is processed, this function fires. Basically, this is what it does. And yeah, the syntax is a bit weird, but you kind of get used to it. It is what it is, and it's a function of marketplace. So, all right. So first, we want to check. So now receipt is by the way, receipt, and this parameter is the actual receipt. So we can actually use this to get some information from the receipt. For example, the player that bought it and the dev product the player bought, right? And using the ID, right? So the player ID and the dev product ID. Okay. So local, we can do, let's probably make we're gonna use a pcall function, but it's whatever. So local dev product ID equals receipt dot product ID. I might be wrong. I'm not sure. Might be wrong. So I might need to go on like my other games, such as just to check in case I was wrong. And then player, so player equals receipt dot user or player the player ID. So this is the player that bought it, but the player's user ID. So you want to do game.players that get player by user ID, and then put this. So receipt.user ID is the player's ID. Then you want to get the player from the ID, and then this is the ID of the dev product. Okay, good. Now let's actually loop through all of this and let's check the dev products. Okay. So for I product in pairs, dev products do. If product.id equals dev product ID, so if the IDs match, right, from the receipt, then, all right, and what else do we need to check? yeah, I think that's it. Okay. Then we can fire the function. So we can do a pcall function. I'm not sure if it's exactly necessary, but we can do it if we want. So local pcall function or local suck error. So success error equals pcall function. And then we can do product product dot func. We're gonna fire the function, and then we can pass the player. I'm not sure if this is the right syntax, but we could probably try this. A pcall function just helps to keep an error in case there's an error, and in case there's if there's an error, it won't break the entire script, right? So that's what all a pcall function does. And let's see if this. I'm not sure. Probably did something wrong. I did make it a bit different than how I scripted it last time in my previous games, but when we do product.func, it fires this function for whatever dev product it is, and we pass the player that we got, which is the player that bought the game pass. Okay, I just try if it works. Let's see if it works. It's not a valid matter of marketplace or market. I think I spelled it wrong, so it's process receipt. Sorry, my bad. Process receipt. Okay. So open the shop and let's see if it works. So let's buy 100 points. Let's see if it works. Oh, we got 100 points. Wow, boom, it worked like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all for this tutorial. If you want more, definitely be sure to like and subscribe. That's the most important thing. And if you want, you can join our Discord server. I made a Patreon. I haven't really added anything in it, but if you want to support me, sure, go on my Patreon. You can support me there. What else? Yeah, if you want suggestions, if you have good suggestions, be sure to comment it down below. And then, yeah, that's it. See you guys in the next one. Hope you enjoyed.